I began running away from an abusive home at the age of 12. I'm from a small town in Missouri. And from there, my prostitution started with truck drivers. I didn't know it was prostitution. And eventually I ended up on the streets of Denver, where I did turn out with a pimp.
Prostitution wasn't something Christy wanted to do. For her, it was about surviving.
A day could seem as long as a week. Being fed, and what was I going to eat? Where could I find shelter? Those were the basics of what I was looking for.
Christy was a prostitute for 24 years before she was able to buy her freedom, and she considers herself lucky.
People sometimes, when they hear human trafficking, they conjure up images of abductions taking place in third world countries. They're not thinking about the exploitation of vulnerable people that happens right here in our own community.
As I was going through the yellow pages, there were probably 12 to 14 ads I stumbled on under escort services.
That was in 2007. Now some Lincolnites are working to stop trafficking. Senator Amanda McGill passed legislation to start the Nebraska Human Trafficking Task Force in 2009.
Our human trafficking statutes have only been written since I got here in the legislature, so within the last few years.
Lincoln police officers also have to go through specialized trafficking training, and there are a few nonprofit groups helping to pass legislation or working directly with some of the victims.
But I see women in my city, and I recognize them as me. And I know these women in my city are all...
Now Christy is the director of Veronica's Voice, a nonprofit in Kansas City that helps women out of prostitution. She says talking about trafficking is the way to end it.
We've come a long way. Our state has improved its rankings in terms of our laws against human trafficking, but there is still a lot left to be done and a lot of unanswered questions about how to deter this from happening. And in my mind, we really need to start implementing more and more programs for our little girls and boys about how to properly treat each other.
For NewsNet Nebraska, I'm Katie Nelson.